Harris County Improvement District Number 1 meeting for October 19th, 2016. And John Breeding would like to make a quick comment as we begin.
Okay. In front of each of you, you should find this book. And a little note for me inside this. Alex Garvin is a Kendall, a well-renowned planner. He is a professor at Yale. He's been involved in some pretty interesting projects all the time. He's author and has written several books. He says his latest book is What Makes a Great City. And in that, he takes examples. And somehow I've lost the page here, but I think there's a tab, Kendall, in 255. You will see that he picks 5 projects from around the world that he thinks that are changing the way cities look at the public realm. And on that page, you will find a few pages there dedicated to Post Oak Boulevard. And so I think it might be interesting reading. It talks about a lot of the things that you've been doing for years here in Uptown, and that is really using the public realm to bring people together while you on the private sector side do your thing. So each of you have a book. Hope you enjoy it. And you may have seen that there was a Houston Chronicle treated this quite well as well by covering it in Zest and showed a lot of the sketches of what Post Oak Boulevard will look like upon the completion of the project. Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. That's all I have.
That's great.
John, is there, I've noticed that the little section on it is longer than just this part. Do we have excerpts? Give people, circulate people, put on the website?
We can certainly try to do that.
That's doable. I think,
With Mr. Garvin's permission.
Yes, well, he's obviously become, we're big fans of his. and I will tell you that Garvin, this is not something that we created. This is something that has been going on for some time. He sort of came to Houston in the early 70s and sort of started looking at what was going on here in the Uptown Galleria area, and has really come back over the years, photographed from the same locations to see how an area can urbanize. And I think if you look at this, you'll see some of these historical photographs. But very interesting, pretty thoughtful. And he spoke to the Kinder Institute. He spoke, Bob Ethington, who was his valet. Bob, they spoke to Kinder,
Kinder,
to Rice.
and Rice, University Architectural School.
And then had visits with the Chronicle, and I think also channel the
Chronicle,
radio
Paper
station.
City, he's met with several Houston Business Journal and others. So,
And there's interest to bring them back.
yeah, GHP is showing some interest in bringing them back.
And as sort of continuing part of that, and I don't know if I can announce this, but this is sort of just a quick insight. Our PBS documentary, Post Oak Boulevard, A Texas Legacy, has won a somewhat prestigious award that's granted. It's called the Addison Award, and it's not given on an annual basis, but every few years when something significant is done, it's either written or produced, a video like this, that recognizes the history of Houston. This award is given. So this is a rare event, and they're recognizing our PBS documentary on Post Oak Boulevard. So good things, good recognition of what's going on.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for alerting us to that. And that moves us on to our next item, which is to approve the minutes of the September 28th Board of Directors meeting, which were sent out beforehand. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Motion carries. Our next item is to receive comments or questions from the public. Does anyone wish, or has anyone signed up to speak?
No, no speakers.
Okay. Next, we'd like to convene a public hearing on the 2016 tax rate under tab 2, page 4. And we would like to hear comments from John Breeding and Gene Shepherd.
First of all, if you remember at our last board meeting, you authorized us to issue public notice of us setting our tax rate and of this public hearing. In that public notice, we presented the proposed tax rate, and it gave people within the community an opportunity to see that. Stephen, what we published that in?
That's the Chronicle this week, is that right?
Community section.
Community section Chronicle this week.
So it's something that somebody in this area would have seen.
Qualifies as a newspaper of general circulation in the area.
And we have received no comments after that was published. And today, the intent is for us to report that to you. Also to have our financial advisor report to you his recommendation on the tax rate. And then after the public hearing is closed, Mr. Chairman, then we'll consider adopting and levying the tax rate. Stephen, anything I leave out?
Nope.
All right. If I could, may I ask Gene
Yes, sir.
Shepherd, if you would come forward? In your books, beginning on page 4, in fact, is the letter from Mr. Shepherd, and it's the same thing you see on the screen. So.
Thank you, Mr. Breeding, Mr. Miller, members of the board. I'm Gene Shepherd with RBC Capital Markets, financial advisors to the district and to the authority. I'd like to introduce Lauren Morales, who recently moved from Phoenix Public Finance Group to our Houston Public Finance Group. And we recently moved our office from downtown Houston to be your new neighbors in the Williams Tower. So I told Shannon that we could catch the bus when it starts running and come to the meeting instead of having to drive our car in parks. This is our official tax rate recommendation. It is unchanged from last year, that is the levy, 47.2 cents for debt service to pay current debt, principal and interest, 0.09625 for operations, total 14.345 cents. The one variable here that you probably would be interested in, and that is the 2016 certified roll is $6.5 billion. That we know is on the books. The $51 million is an estimate. However, that is the owner's rendered value to the appraisal district, so we think that's probably on the low side. And as those properties are reviewed, it could work its way back up a little bit. We're using 99% collection rate, which is where you are actually, and the 0.0472 cents will produce about $3,061,000, combined with funds on hand of $280,000. We'll pay 2017 principal and interest of $2.7 million. So a year from now, we would expect to end with a fund balance of about $561,000. Next year, that is 2018, principal and interest, as it stands now, is about $2.8 million. So that $560,000 is about 20%, which is a fairly good ratio of ending balance to the debt service requirements in subsequent years. Bottom of the page, the tax rate for maintenance and operations at 99% will produce about $6.2 million. So the combination, subject to the tax bill itself, is unchanged in terms of rate. The profit will vary in terms of the tax bill, subject to new construction versus reappraisal. So let me stop there and answer any question. There's another schedule on the next page. It just shows that the current tax, based on current values, will service all of the outstanding debt company.
Gene, I think there's maybe a typo on the cover letter and maybe what the recommendation letter. In the middle paragraph, it talks about a tax rate of 0.472 on the debt service, and I think we're missing a zero there. It's correct on that schedule that you're looking at.
It could have
Not
been
on the letter.
Could have been an earlier letter.
It just says, it's a transmittal letter, and I do think it's a typo. It should be 4 cents, and it is all the other calculations.
I just wanted to correct it for the record, because I know you're not really recommending it.
No, we're not. We will
No, thank you.
provide that, and
Yeah, but the chart's right, I just want the, you know, the file to be right.
Are there any questions for Gene? That's consistent with the budget that you adopted in June. And so, Mr. Chairman, if there are no questions.
With that then, if there are no other questions, I guess we want to conclude the public hearing and move on to page 7, where we will consider adopting the order levying taxes. And we all may notice that the .0472 is accurate there.
And the first section 1, and with a maintenance tax of 0.9625, which is consistent in overall tax rate once combined is the same last year at 0.14345. Mr. Chairman, if we could have a motion to move ordering levying of taxes, I'd appreciate it.
Okay, do I have a motion adopting an order levying the taxes as stated on page 7 and 8? Is there a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. And with that, we move on to page 9. And we need to hear from Stephen Wood about amending the district information.
Mr. Chairman, we need a motion to approve this amendment to the district information form. This document gets recorded in Harris County deed records, and the purpose is to put any buyer of property in the district on notice of the district's tax rate and the amount of outstanding debt. Gets updated every year when we levy our tax.
And I assume the update is really mainly date and rate?
That's right, and it also contains information in Exhibit A, notice to purchasers, that details the amount of bonds that we have outstanding, and of course, that has changed this year.
Okay, so with that, do I have a motion to amend the district information form and authorize appropriate action?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and motion carries, which moves us on to a review of the fourth quarter budget status on page 14.
Shannon?
Okay, thank you. Page 14, you have the quarterly review for the district operating budget, July through September. The first 3 columns represent the first quarter. The first is the actual expenditures for the quarter versus what we budgeted to expend, and that third column is a percent of budget. Ideally, it would be right at 100%. If we're spot on, a little bit under, if we're slow on expenditures, or a little bit hot if it's over 100%. The next 3 columns represent a year-to-date going through October 17th, and that percent of the total year-to-date budget. And that last column is for your reference, so that you will see our annual budget for each of those categories. Overall, total expenditures are 86% for the quarter and 85% for the year. There is no reason for us to expect at this time that we have any issues with big swing variances one way or the other. If you have questions about any particular item, please let me know, and I'll try and address that.
Shannon, our revenues, I'm sitting here looking at this, in a very ad valorem current revenue. Year to date is $46, and it shows 100%. Obviously, those are funds that will really begin flowing in January, and really, we don't have the bulk of that until March, Betsy, and that,
Late
Correct.
February, March.
late February or March. So I would point that out.
Are there any other questions or discussion? Okay, we need no action here, so we'll move on to a discussion and update of the Memorial Park, green spaces, and Post Oak Boulevard.
I think Post Oak Boulevard is up first, and so Robert, if I get into the, you can pull me out and we'll have Sarah give you an update on the park. We have been progressing well. I will tell you that Public Works Department called a meeting last week where they invited us, the Texas Department of Transportation, as well as Metro and the Public Works staff, the planning Andy Aiken's department, who's the development director for the city. The meeting, I thought was very successful for us. The mayor, I'm gonna give you a little bit of what we gave him. He was, I think he was pleased. One of the concerns he had was how's the project impacting businesses? What complaints are we hearing? Kendall was able to join us, and I handed that hot subject over to him at that time. And I think the report was that we're really not hearing a lot from the businesses. And I would ask for you to share what you're hearing. We have impacted a lot of the residential that's in the area. And as I told the mayor, I said, if we work during the daytime, we impact traffic. If we work at night, traffic is fine during the day, but we can upset some folks. So we've had a little bit of learning, and it really is going to vary almost by segment that we're working on. But I think we've really got it, sort of found the sweet spot right now, and I think that the complaints, we're not getting that many complaints from the residential properties at this time. Bob Effington and Dave Meswah get to handle most of those. Dave, is that kind of where you
Yeah,
find
we
your
have
time?
found that we go out and speak to those property owners, property managers, people managing the properties about what's going on, what's coming up, and we've kind of gotten into a communication with Robert, so we know what's coming up. We let them know ahead of time, but they have direct contact with us, so if there is something that doesn't seem quite right, they'll contact us immediately when we get to Robert, and we can get right back to them. So I think developing that relationship has really helped a lot. And residents will go through their representative, who will come back to us. Sometimes they'll contact us directly, and we'll deal directly with them. And I think just in the immediate contact that we have with them lets them know that we're hearing them and we really care about some of the things that are happening out there for them. It helps us as we progress down the boulevard.
And as what Delia and Bob has found out is that Robert may not know what's happening every minute of the day. And so we have to be a little bit nimble. Robert's got a really great contractor. I think you agree. We've got a good construction foreman on that job who gets his feelings hurt if people crap at him. And so he's really trying to get production, yet try to be sensitive to everybody. Keeping driveways. A great example was McDonald's and even Prosperity Bank. Keeping Prosperity Bank as one driveway, essentially to get in and out. And we kept them in operation. So it's not easy, but I think that the guys are working well on that. And I think the mayor expressed some comfort. Kendall, you want to give a report on that?
The only thing I would add to that is, the sensitivity, I think, that we're showing by doing a lot of our work at night and really shifting out the traffic when its loads are heavier is hopefully paying off and maintaining that access. And I've been out walking early in the mornings and seeing that firsthand, and I've been real impressed by how our crews have managed that.
Thank you. Just real quick, I want to give you a few updates here. One, a very broad general overview of what the TERS is doing in terms of real estate acquisition. We have a total of 36 parcels that we need to acquire, 158,560 square feet of land. As of this morning, we're at 90.1%, or almost 143,000 square feet. We have 3 parcels. Actually, two of those are currently being condemned by the city.
Correct.
Steve, you might want to give what is an appropriate status report for that.
Lawsuits have been filed in both of those cases, so it's public. That is Cosmopolitan and Prosperity Bank. And in the case of Cosmopolitan, the special commissioners have been appointed, and we are waiting to hear when the hearing date is going to be. And in the case of Prosperity Bank, the city has requested that the judge appoint the commissioners, but that hasn't happened yet.
Okay. So, there's a potential for 3 more. I think the good news here is to tell you, out of 36 parcels, we're down to less than, a hand's worth of parcels that we're working on.
The two that are being condemned are, maybe not coincidentally, the two smallest and least expensive parcels in the entire project.
So just sharing this big overview, this has gone extremely well, and we continue.
Who's the third property?
I don't know that we would probably tell you exactly.
Yeah, we probably should
Yeah.
right now.
But
We shouldn't talk about
you could probably speculate. But I will tell you that all properties between San Felipe and Westheimer are actually doing very well, and we are working with a couple that are. It's just complicated, but I feel very positive about it. Might have one property south of Westheimer, and that's probably as much as I should say. All right. Then on to construction. We told this to the mayor, and you have heard this before, but what we wanted to do is give them some idea about the sequence, about how we're doing this. One of the things that we'd heard, that people were surprised that we were taking Post Oak Boulevard down to 2 lanes in each direction. And one of the things we want to let people know is that, as in downtown, you have a lot of different streets you can send traffic to, but we don't really have a replacement for Post Oak Boulevard. So we have to do much like TxDOT did when they rebuilt the West Loop. They literally took the median over and started moving traffic onto it and give them space to build the new lanes. So with the additional right-of-way that we're acquiring and the median, that's where we get enough right-of-way to make things happen. So eventually we move traffic onto the median and begin the new construction, and then we will flip that as we move down the road. You've seen this. This is done. We moved the trees out of Post Oak Boulevard. We continue to work with public groups for the section from San Felipe South, where we were looking for people that would take our trees. In the first section, we now have an oversubscription of trees south, and so we basically are working with the Reliant area, South Main area. We're working with the Parks Department and with Houston First, and much of the cost of the relocation of these trees we're actually being paid for some of that. Cleared median, you got to take the stainless steel poles, the rings, and other things down. If you've noticed up at Uptown Park, the ring is gone, so that we can begin to widen the street. So this is our segmentation north of San Felipe. By the way, as we are moving forward, I think Robert is beginning to think about maybe one contract for the south of San Felipe construction. Just some efficiencies there in terms of managing how you switch traffic over. We don't break it at a Westheimer and try to figure out how 2 contractors can make that work. I don't think that decision has been made, but it's where I'd say you're leaning. Is that right, Robert?
Yeah, one of the big reasons why we're going to split, where we were splitting it, this section, was the conflict with private utility AT&T, which has gone away. We potholed and found that AT&T is no longer in conflict with us. It's going to make things easier, and we can combine the 2 projects and eliminate a lot of coordination just north of Westheimer, which is always going to be the worst spot ever to try to coordinate things. If we combine it, if we don't get good competitive bids, we can always take it and split it apart again and go back on the street with 2 separate bids.
And it is our intention, Robert, when do you plan to be on the street with asking for
By the
bids?
end of November, we hope to be advertising on the street for a January award that we were looking for.
And for them to go to work right after the Super Bowl. Okay? So this is, again, sort of graphically showing that we have a median. We take that median out, put traffic on it. We build our 3 lanes and all of our utilities and our sidewalks. And then once that's done, we move cars onto that area and we build the northbound side, putting the northbound traffic on the medians. We also maintain our left-hand turn lanes. And then we come back in and actually build this part. I think Robert's intention here is that he wants to get back to the 3 lanes in each direction as quickly as possible, and then working from inside that 46-foot area, build the new dedicated bus lanes. So those will be kind of the last things to happen, will be the landscaping of the medians. This is a photograph from last week, 2 lanes in each direction, as we're laying down storm drains. Some of the work that's happening, and this is a view off of our cameras up here. You can see here at McDonald's where they're maintaining access, and we're putting in the storm drain boxes. And Robert, where are we today? We're finishing up down here at this point, I think.
By the end of the week, we'll be done in Hollyhurst.
And so
The station will be done.
these storm drains not only are to convey, but we're also putting in much larger boxes, as you can see, that will help with detention in the area as well. We have also are going to be raising, extending our arches and lifting them up and putting them on new foundations. The first one will be here at 4 Oaks Place. The first stainless steel extensions are here on site. They did a great job of polishing them. Maybe a little bit different than what we had, just because one was done in 1992 and the other's done today. But I have to think over time. I can't tell the difference, but I'm almost certain by the time we get them built that we'll notice some difference. And so we're moving ahead. It is our objective, working with our good friends at Weingarten. Are we still on? To try to get that one done by Christmas?
We're working on the easements necessary, or changes to the easement
Okay.
necessary. Get all parties.
All right, we're trying to get there. We're trying to get there. We'll have to make that decision soon. But it isn't taking that much time. Robert, when do you think, we're not really advertising this because this is like the first ring that we hung in the area. We had marketing people that wanted to have the Chronicle come out and the TV stations come out as we lifted this up. And I said, why don't we just do it and call them when it's done? And so I asked you, Robert.
And they can always come out for the second, third, fourth, and fifth one. But the first one is taking its own time, and at this point, they call out the structural engineer and the special inspector to make sure the rebar is placed right. And there's a lot of coordination going on, and the timing of it, I would hope by the end of this month, we will be, or by the first weekend of November, we'll be lifting the first arch. But I won't guarantee that.
Robert, is that lifted, welded, and completed, and bolted down?
It's welded, lifted, and put in place, and then being polished up
We'll
into
buff it out and blend it in.
the final form.
So it's a little interesting activity. Then again, this is just that word slide, again, pointing out that we hope to have southbound in this section completed by April and the northbound completed by November before Thanksgiving next year. And then this is when you come back in and do that 46 feet in the middle. You'll look down south. All of this pointing toward late 2018, having the project completed. Robert likes to say, well, I know I'll have 6 lanes in each direction, whether I'll have everything finished. We keep encouraging him to be ready. Another big issue that is an impact on Post Oak Boulevard that's going on is that this, I told someone this morning, I went to a breakfast meeting, and they asked all about our construction activities. And then we got to talking somehow about this project, and I said, and TxDOT is going to reconstruct the 610-59 interchange. What we're doing is nothing. And so just a quick shot, literally everything in the interchange will be reconstructed. The main lanes of the West Loop will be constructed. Some interesting things about this is that if you're driving from inner city out, you'll actually exit to Chimney Rock before you go through the West Loop. That's to get you over to this side. And so when everybody comes off the West Loop, you aren't fighting each other for space. So it's some real nice, there's some really great improvements in all of this. A new ramp that will take you from this area and from the West Loop to either inbound or outbound on 59, but you don't get to fight with one another in the merging. So a lot of cleaning up of that. And as a part of that, because there's new ramps that will push Post Oak Boulevard over to the west about 45 feet at Richmond, the TxDOT will be constructing the southern part of this project, essentially from Fairdale south. And they'll construct it all the way down here to West Park. And also the ramp, the T-ramp that comes off of the busways that ties into the transit center, TxDOT will also be constructing that within their own right-of-way, and we'll tie into that. And so that they are on schedule to award that in August, I think, of 2017, and we're currently at about 60% design drawings. Our part of that is in there, and it's being sort of reviewed by everybody, and that's we are now going to be meeting with TxDOT and the city and Metro and the Toll Road Authority every 2 weeks for the foreseeable future to help coordinate that. This is what TxDOT will be building in terms of the dedicated bus lanes. This is also the T-ramp that they will build and come off of the Southwest Freeway busway. And then this is where we are. We have made an offer on the property in this area, and we're hopefully going to. I will point out something here somewhat interesting, that this is the property that we're buying from a private sector group, and this some excess property that Metro owns, and they are dedicating that property to this project because the parcel has to be one piece. Other than that, again, these numbers are close. Real estate's more than what was estimated in that 2013 cost estimate. We're currently, the good news is that we are below our budget on real estate acquisition. We're not through, but where we are at the moment. And again, Post Oak Boulevard north of San Felipe, we estimated $30 million. Bids came in just under $26 million. And so we feel like we're in a good place. Anybody have any questions? I'll leave that. That's it. Sarah, if you want to give everybody a quick verbal description of what's going on.
Sure. In Memorial Park, we are beginning to advertise bids this week for the Eastern Blaze Phase 1 project. That's moving the East Memorial Loop Road, extending the Seymour Lieberman Trail, and adding parking. So we're hoping to come back to you all for more in December. Bids will be due in November. We're working things out with the Conservancy to go ahead and move forward. So excited about that. Here in the Uptown area, we have Park on San Felipe. We're complete now of all the underground utilities. We have some trees to move. We're hoping this weekend to install the remaining 4 trees, and then we begin to finish out the pretty part of the park. Still hoping to be done by Christmas on that one. And for Tanglewood Park, the dog park portion is well underway. It should be finished around Thanksgiving. And the parking lot got closed today for demolition. That will be the main bulk of the rest of the work. And we're still on track to really finish that by Christmas, with maybe some of the final landscaping going in the new year. But the ball field is currently open, the playground is currently open. So things are moving forward.
Does anybody else have any other questions? Mr. Chairman, I have nothing else.
Okay, with that, we are adjourned.